There are mornings when you don't want to get up. When the bed is too warm, the alarm too sharp, the sky too gray. You don't feel like moving. You don't feel inspired. You don't feel like chasing anything. And that's the problem with motivation. It feels good when it's there, but it disappears the moment things get hard. Motivation is emotion, and emotions are fragile, unpredictable, inconsistent. Discipline is different. Discipline shows up whether you feel like it or not. Discipline doesn't need the right music, the perfect quote, or an ideal mood. It just needs a decision. The Stoics knew this well. They didn't trust feeling to lead their lives. They trusted principle, habit, repetition. They practiced clarity. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Not what you feel like doing, what must be done." Because the Stoic understands this truth. The most important actions often feel uncomfortable. Growth rarely feels good in the moment, but it is always good in hindsight. When you rely on motivation, you are a slave to mood. But when you build discipline, you are free, because you've chosen to be bigger than how you feel. That's power. When you train discipline like a muscle, you no longer ask, "Do I feel like it?" You ask, "What's the right thing to do?" You simplify your life. You remove the endless bargaining, the internal debates, the excuses. You act. You act tired. You act afraid. You act bored. But you act anyway. That's not heartless. That's strength. It's what carries you through the dark days, the hard months, the years where everything feels uphill. Motivation will abandon you in those seasons, but discipline won't. Discipline is the decision you make long before the struggle arrives. It's the path you choose when you're clear-headed, so it's already there when you feel weak. And if this message speaks to where you are right now, I invite you to like, comment, share this episode, and subscribe to stay grounded with more truth and tools that keep you focused. Not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. Because life isn't built on bursts of inspiration. It's built on consistency. Discipline builds character. Motivation builds hype. One fades, one lasts. The Stoics understood that calm, clarity, and consistency come not from waiting for perfect days, but from being the same person every day. And that is the power you already hold. Discipline starts with a choice, but it grows through repetition. You can't build it in a single moment. You build it in hundreds of unseen decisions. The choice to get up when no one's watching. The decision to finish what you started even when the excitement is gone. That's where the foundation is laid. Not in peak moments, but in quiet ones. Motivation is loud. Discipline is quiet. But it's in that quiet where real transformation happens. The Stoics didn't need applause to stay on their path. They didn't need recognition to do what was right. They did it because it aligned with who they chose to be. That's the standard. You don't do it for attention. You do it because it's who you are. You don't write when you're inspired. You write because you said you would. You don't train when the weather is perfect. You train because that's the life you chose. You don't love only when it's easy. You love because you made a vow. Discipline turns goals into identity. You stop chasing results and start embodying consistency. You realize it's not about doing more, but doing what matters, again and again and again. Discipline isn't glamorous, but it is sacred. It's the thing that remains when everything else fades. It's why you get up again. It's why you show up when you're tired. It's why you grow when others retreat. The world rewards the disciplined, not just the talented. Because talent without discipline is wasted. Potential without consistency is lost. You don't need more motivation. You need more clarity. What matters to you? Who do you want to be? Let that guide you. And then show up every single day, no matter what. There will be days when you forget your why. Days when the goal feels distant. When the fire you once had flickers. That's when most people quit, but not the disciplined. Because discipline doesn't rely on emotion. It relies on commitment. The Stoics practice this in every aspect of life. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself every morning, not to feel good, but to remind himself of truth. He wasn't writing for likes or approval. He wrote to reinforce his identity. That's discipline. Modern life teaches us to chase inspiration, to look for external triggers to get us going. But the Stoic path is internal. You wake up, breathe, and begin. Not because you feel like it, but because it's who you are becoming. And over time, that consistency becomes character. You stop waiting for the world to make it easier. You stop blaming circumstances. You build your rhythm. You own your actions. This is how discipline reshapes everything. It takes you from being reactive to being responsible. It takes you from dreaming to building. It makes you a force, quiet, focused, unstoppable. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be faithful. Not to feelings, but to your values, to your word, to the standard you've set. When motivation disappears, and it will, discipline is the voice that says, "We keep going." When the goal fades from view, discipline keeps your feet moving. When everyone else stops, discipline helps you endure. Because greatness is not about energy, it's about endurance. And endurance is fueled by discipline. You won't always feel proud. You won't always feel powerful. But if you stay disciplined, you'll always be moving forward. And that's what matters. You see, motivation depends on mood. Discipline creates movement. One is fleeting. The other is chosen. When you feel lost, don't search for new goals. Return to simple actions. Wake up. Make your bed. Move your body. Speak with integrity. Reflect. Repeat. These are small acts, but they forge the strongest minds. The Stoics didn't seek ease. They sought excellence. And excellence is a habit, not an event. You don't become resilient by waiting for it. You become resilient by training for it, one decision at a time. Discipline is the fire you build quietly, so that when the storm comes, you don't freeze. It's the daily work, the humble repetition. It's doing what needs to be done, even when no one's clapping. That's strength. That's power. That's the life that lasts. So don't chase motivation. Build discipline. Let it carry you through the hard seasons. Let it shape you when things feel uncertain. Let it define you when emotions fade. And in time, you'll look back and see that it wasn't bursts of motivation that brought you here. It was discipline. Daily. Unseen. Uncelebrated. But undefeated. There is a quiet confidence that comes from discipline. Not arrogance, not bravado, just the deep knowing that you can trust yourself. That when life throws its weight on you, you won't collapse. Because you've been here before. Because you trained for this. This is what separates those who last from those who fade. They aren't driven by bursts of fire. They're grounded in steady flame. That's who you can be. Not the loudest in the room, not the most emotional, but the most steady. And that steadiness will inspire others, not through your speeches, but through your consistency. It's not about being perfect. It's about being present. Each day, every hour. You don't need a new plan. You need to stay on the path. Let others wait for motivation. You show up anyway. Let others chase the next quick win. You keep building, brick by brick, step by step. Not for applause, not for approval, but because that's who you are. That's the Stoic path. That's the disciplined life. And it's waiting for you to walk it. So tomorrow when you wake up and the spark isn't there, don't wait for it. Create it. With action, with repetition, with your routine. Don't wait to feel ready. Begin. Don't hope to feel inspired. Move. Let your body lead when your mind is tired. Let your values lead when your emotions are loud. That's the essence of discipline. It recenters you. It reminds you of your why when your mind forgets. It grounds you when everything else is shifting. And over time, it becomes who you are, not just something you do, but a part of your identity. You become someone who does what's needed, not what's convenient. Someone who stays when others leave. someone who finishes what they start. That's the kind of person who builds a life of meaning, not by accident, but by choice. So choose again today. Choose discipline, choose strength, choose consistency, and let that choice carry you to the life you were born to live. Because in the end, it's not the most excited who finish the race. It's the most consistent. And consistency is born from discipline. That is what will carry you across every finish line. So don't wait for motivation. Build discipline and watch your entire life transform from the inside out. That's the quiet victory of the disciplined life. It endures, it builds, it becomes unshakable.